This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Albert Zbily. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Excellent. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, for sure. It's a great pleasure to connect with you. Do tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
So right now I'm in Montreal, Canada, where it's presently about minus 15 degrees centigrade. So nice balmy night.
We were in Montreal just on July 4th. When is Canada's July 4th equivalent? Is it July 1st?
July 1st is
Yes.
Canada Day, yeah.
Yes, so we were there on July 1st, and it was nowhere around that temperature, thankfully. I'm a Caribbean guy.
Yeah, exactly. So you were probably at a time when it was nice and somewhere in its 30s or somewhat like that.
Yeah, and for folks, I know there are a lot of US people that listen. We're not speaking about Fahrenheit. This is degrees, centigrades, so 30 degrees Celsius. Well, my friend, do tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
So I'm the founding president of the International Federation of Corporate Football, which is the world governing body of what you can call corporate soccer. So we basically encourage companies to put their own employees onto a soccer pitch and play a friendly game against another company. And we do this now presently in 60 countries with over 2.5 million players.
Wow, who came up with this idea?
So, I mean, I didn't invent this.
Sure.
I kind of, it kind of hit me as an epiphany. I'm a former professional soccer referee, and I was in England refereeing in Manchester. And I started discovering something called the gentleman's game, which were, older guys getting together once a week and playing, what they call over there football, what we call here soccer, just in terms of representing their companies and, going out there, networking and getting exercise. And so I absolutely loved the idea. And I came back home here to Montreal and I started a local league. And it took me about a year of cold calling people, trying to get enough interest to get teams going. And after about a year of calling people, I managed to put 6 teams together, and we started our first season. So, fast forward to today, just here in Montreal, we have over 350 teams, close to 12,000 players participate on basically 11 months out of the year. We're always playing.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, that is amazing. So there's a huge skill in here, right? That's happening, which is you being the connector, if you would, the conduit for all of this. Who did you learn that from? The chief, if you would. Who did you learn that from?
I think this just basically goes back to my upbringing. My parents were very social people, constantly talking to pretty much everybody. My dad would just strike up conversations with anybody. And what I learned from that is that meeting people and conversating with them is what makes all the difference in the world. You can have all the best skill sets. You can be on top of the biggest company. You can have, the most riches. But at the end of the day, meeting people and sort of, building those bridges, in my opinion, is the best value. And matching my skill set as a professional soccer referee and everything that I've learned in that field, as well as my own professional field, I kind of put it all together and I said, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we can expand our networks, meet new people, maybe make new business contacts, and obviously play the game we love.
It's a beautiful idea, my friend. A beautiful idea. As much as it's one thing with the implementation of the idea, but being the person who is doing this on the field, I think that's a huge takeaway.
100%. There isn't a dull day in my life, that's for sure. In the past 12 years, I mean, I'm always on the road. I do a lot of traveling to try to get all the members involved and create different leagues, create different synergies around the world. We organize a World Cup, so to speak. We call it the World Corporate Champions Cup, and it's organized every year where we have 16 countries, 16 companies who travel to different destinations, and we put on a 3-day kind of soccer festival.
Wow.
We get to meet all these different people. We network, we drink, we are merry, we eat, and of course we play the game we love. So I think this is the beauty of it, is that it's interesting because I'll give you an example how some people are constantly needing to network for their jobs. And I'm thinking of one particular banker who said to me, I absolutely need to play in your league. And I said, well, why? He says, well, because I pick up the phone, I call people, and I tell them that I offer them all these services, and they just hang up on me because they're not interested. But he said, a second that I play on the field and we both sweat it out, and then we shake hands at the end of the game, we create a connection. And it's that much easier for me to bond with the person and eventually sell them banking services. And I said, wow, this is what the game does for us.
Yeah, I mean, I would buy from someone I know, trust, and like, and that definitely helps. So that is amazing. Now, where can people go to find out more about getting into this?
So the website is FIFCO.org, FIFCO.org. So basically, I started this organization roughly 10 years ago after I started the local league in Montreal. And basically, the way it was that the team that won the first championship said to me, Albert, what's next? And I said, what's next? It's easy. Go to the bar and have fun. He says, no. What's next in terms of other playing? And that's what made me think. And I said, well, wouldn't it be cool if we can find an organization out there that can accommodate us and, create tournaments? And guess what? It didn't exist. And I was dumbfounded. I said, how could it not exist? And so the way I see it is that if it doesn't exist, then build it. And that's pretty much what I did. And I started contacting people around the world, bringing these companies together, bringing individuals who organize their own leagues. And then I started traveling and visiting them. And lo and behold, 12 years later, or 10 years after starting FIFCO, we're now in 60 countries.
That is amazing. Well, I do hope that you guys put Trinidad in that route, if you would, because I just think it will be great for the companies that exist here.
Oh, I think Trinidad is perfect place for it, not only in terms of the amount of football that's being played in the country, but the amount of people that are interested in terms of building these kind of links. And I think as well, I mean, can you imagine a future World Cup in Trinidad? What a great vacation.
Yeah. And we do have the infrastructure in preparation for what was built for the Youth World Cup. So there are some really nice pictures. So yeah, that sounds really good. I'll definitely forward that conversation with you. I am excited. So this is the power of a conversation, folks. For those of you who are listening, it happens. It's random conversations, yes, but it just is fascinating how much you can really connect when you're having a conversation. All right, my friend, we've blown past our first and our second segment. Let me switch gears for a moment on you, and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Albert, what is your earliest childhood memory?
It's a great question, and I honestly, I was stumped about how or what really sort of stands out. And I'll tell you, the one thing that stands out is me as a little boy playing outdoors, and it sort of defines me because I'm really an outdoors guy. As early as I can remember, I never wanted to be indoors. I just wanted to be outside playing. Running, hail, rain, snow, sun. I was outdoors.
How old were you in that memory?
I would say somewhere around 4 years old. I would say, around 4. I can remember where my mom would have to run after me and say, "You better come inside, wash up, and eat." And I was like, "No, there's no way I'm coming in."
Yeah, yeah. I like that though. I like that. So let me just connect that then. I like that thought memory. So all right. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Yeah, for sure.
I love your mother being the referee in the midst of it all, being the balance, if you would, and now you being the balance as well for others, because it can get pretty dangerous on that field if you weren't there to moderate, not because it's not only just the football aspect of what's going on, but then there's the networking aspect as well, and having that moderator is very, very, very important.
I think that's brilliant, because and it's only now that I'm really making those links, and I think you're absolutely right. And it's interesting because in my academic training, I'm an economist. I worked as an economist. I worked for government for many years, but I couldn't last. I needed to be outdoors, and refereeing was my best way to be out there, because as a football player, your career is always limited. But as a referee, I mean, I only stopped when I was 43, and I was running at the same level as the 21-year-olds.
Wow.
So the beauty is, you're right, and that is a link. I guess I learned that from my parents, of sort of being that moderator, and it's a really fun role to play.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like fun. I mean, I'm energized by the energy you are speaking with based on the joy you have when you're doing this. So, yeah, I can well imagine how others are infected as well.
That's great. Yeah, no, excellent.
Yeah. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
So, believe it or not, I was a Beatles fan as early as I can remember. I mean, my sisters could only listen to the Beatles. My parents, believe it or not, also always brought Beatles. So 12 years old, even though it was the mid 80s, for me it was Hey Jude. I mean, that's the one song that sticks to my mind. And anything Beatles, it will always be, right at my heart.
Love it, love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. Says yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Albert?
Yeah.
Albert, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I think so.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
3 kids.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Absolutely.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Never.
Well, about 3 hours a week?
Maybe.
Okay. What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, yeah, 8 hours and plus.
All right. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Albert Zbily, what would you say that is?
Persistence.
Oh, I love it. Albert, this was a great pleasure again, my friend. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I invite everybody to check us out, get to know us, but even more so is get out there, get off your chairs, away from your screens, and run, play, do whatever it takes to keep fit, to keep active, and keep connecting. I think what you're doing is amazing. I think it's great fun. I think there's a lot of energy there, but even more so is you're pretty lucky to be able to conversate with people from around the globe.
Yes.
It's a wonderful world we live in, and it's the people that make it so.
I love it. Albert, my friend, again, this has been a great pleasure. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by A Zbily Enterprise.